the SPS Digital Learning Hour, brought to you by the Digital Learning and Assessment Department. We're coming to you today from a conference room in the central office, bringing you the latest news in Springfield Public Schools in regards to technology, along with inspiring interviews from teachers who are using technology in the classroom. We'll also inform you the latest updates, practices, and news as it pertains to our district. Whether you are new to using technology in the classroom or are a seasoned vet, we are here to help. Thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Mike Thomas. You can find me out on Twitter and Instagram at BeardedTechEd or BeardedTechEdGuy. In case you missed it, this past week, the latest blog post went up, and it was all about integrating technology into your classroom. It's more like 10 quick tips on how to integrate technology. For those of you who don't do a lot of it right now, there are a lot of great ways that you can integrate technology, whether it's using OneNote to record students reading, to using reading group discussion boards, using FreeRice. For those in the younger grades, using a program called Teach Your Monster to Read, which is a very effective program which helps teach your students to read. It gives them a little monster that they have to follow around and use, and it helps them. It's very game-based, and it's very easy to use. There's also sites like freerice.com, which not only does vocabulary, but it doubles as a UN World Food Program. So every time you get a right answer, it adds grains of rice, and they donate the amount of rice to those who are in need. They don't just have vocabulary on there anymore. They have other subjects like multiplication, humanities, chemistry, basic math, and more. So again, for those that are trying to figure out what it's like, so if I get 20 questions right, that's 200 grains of rice that I have donated. I don't have to pay anything. It is a free program that teachers can use in the classroom, that you can use yourself. Even if you are bored at home and you're like, I need something to do, you can go on freerice.com, answer questions, and donate some rice. In case you missed it, Microsoft Educator community continues to grow, and they have tomorrow on March 6th, a How to Train Your Dragon live broadcast, a live Skype that you can do with the author, and then there's all sorts of different work that you can do around it. If you are a big OneNote user, they actually have templates and other things in the community that people have shared out that they are using. So I highly encourage you to go out to education.microsoft.com. That's it for this week's In Case You Missed It. Coming up next, our interview of the week. For this week's interview of the week, I sat down over at Milton Bradley with Mary Ann Carrasquillo, who is the technology educator over there. She works with all the students. They come to her computer lab. She's doing a lot of great things in the classroom and has a lot of experience that I think is beneficial to all of us. So check out this interview.
I've been a instructional technology teacher for 10 plus years. I am currently working at Milton Bradley Elementary. I am a former Putnam IT specialist teacher, and I'm teaching right now elementary.
So you went from Putnam, which is high school students, to Milton Bradley, which is elementary students. How was that jump for you? Because it seems like a big jump.
Since I had my license in all levels, I wanted to do some time in elementary, and I did enjoy it very much. So I decided to continue working in elementary schools.
So has your whole time been at Milton Bradley?
No, I've been here. This is my second year back. I went to Holyoke Public School, and I decided to come back to Springfield because I really love teaching technology, and I think Springfield is one of the best districts in integrating technology across all levels.
Well, that's awesome to hear, because that's a large part of my job. Early on in your teaching career at Putnam or over in Holyoke too, what kind of technology did you have access to?
in Putnam, we used to use laptops. I used to be a coach for teachers. I used to work with students as well. We have laptops, we have software, we have different types of programs that we use in every classroom, like Microsoft Office tools. We use PowerPoint, Dreamweaver, Front Page back then, and different programs as they needed training, all teachers in different departments and content areas.
At Putnam, you weren't just working with students. You were also, it sounds like you were working with teachers a lot too, trying to get them up to speed on using technology in the classroom.
Correctly.
So let's jump ahead to your time here at Milton Bradley. I can see we're sitting in your computer lab right now. So you have computer labs. I'm imagining a lot of what you do is web-based, maybe?
Yes, I do a lot of different things with different age levels. For example, in my kindergarten through second grade, I integrate a lot of basic skills, using the keyboard, identifying those keys of the keyboard, how to recognize and identify the computer keys and the functions so they are able to use it at the future level and integrate all those technology tools that they use in Springfield Public Schools. For my third to fifth grade, I teach different things. I teach programs. They also participate in an online platform called typing.com. They do weekly typing lessons. They're actually doing programming with coding with an hour of code. I teach on the basis of coding with blocks so they could get exposed to that vocabulary and motivate them so like that they could want to involve themselves in technology careers in the future. I also want to empower and engage my students so they'll feel like they are capable of becoming a programmer, a technician, a computer engineer. So I try to integrate different lessons based on the needs of the students. And I see a lot of engagement and interest in that area too.
That's great. There's a lot of, you're mentioning coding. There's a lot of different programs out there. I can think of Scratch. I can think of MakeCode. I know Google CS is another one. Is there one that you prefer to use with the students?
At this moment and this level, I think the best one that I've been using, that I experienced, two of them, it's an hour of code because you get to do blocks and always Scratch because it allows the kids to see the function and when they write the code using blocks, they could see exactly that it's easy for them to do it at their level. So I'm always trying to integrate more of that into the lessons. Those are the ones that I've tried so far.
So with the students and their coding, because it's once they start to get it, they get really excited and they do amazing things with it. What's one of the favorite projects that you've seen or favorite completed lines of code that students have done?
For example, I love to challenge my students. So every time I try to pick a new game for them to do. And the last time that we did coding for my last, because I get my students every 2 weeks, A and B week. So my last A week, they were able to code their Flappy game and also share it with friends and play it to see if they wanted to make the game harder or not. So that was really challenging for them. And at the same time, it was lots of fun.
Yeah, I remember my first year of teaching coding, like one of my students created their own version of Flappy Birds and we passed the code around, the link around to everybody to try, and nobody could beat it.
Yes.
Because, and what they had a hard time with was making sure that because in Flappy Birds, for those that don't know, it's all about the wings and the bird flapping, and if they touch the wall, then you're over.
Yes.
They made their mountains too tight, where the only way to get through is if you could have the bird straight armed, which even then when it was straight armed, it was still touching the wall. So it's always challenging and it's great to see. So what are some ways that you've seen students grow using technology, whether it's with them using the computer or just even their ability to take chances?
I've seen them grow a lot because when I started here last year, when I came back to Springfield, most of the students never done hour of code before. They done some typing, but they didn't see the real connection to the world. I use different videos of famous people that talk about how they started coding when they were in elementary or middle school. And they begin to like open up more to my lessons. Before they were like, what is that about? I can't do that. And now I see, Miss, can I learn how to do apps? Can you show me how to do this? Or they want more and more and more. So it's challenging for both of us. I'm always trying to come up with new things to keep them involved. And I'm always searching ideas because they do want to explore those areas. And I love to see that in my students.
Awesome. In thinking about the K-2, because that's always a time when I'm talking with teachers, they're like, kindergarten through second grade, like they can't really use the computer. There's a plethora of excuses that are given. And for me, when I'm listening, it sounds a lot like fear of like not being able to control what's going on in the classroom and just letting them go. What are some things in particular that you've done with K-2, since you teach K-5, that you've done with them?
Some of the things that I do, I actually, when I started my kindergarten this year's the first time they do kindergarten. Kindergarten does technology. So we started with basic skills, like I show them videos about the internet safety. We learn about internet safety. Then we learn how to use the mouse, left clicking the mouse, opening the browser, typing ABCYA. Basic things. And now my students have been practicing for a while. I just moved, for example, my first grade just started using typingclub.com. In the beginning, they were not ready for that. So I tried to get them ready for using the mouse, clicking browsers, opening programs, and explore. They have to play with it so they could get used to that feeling of using a computer mouse. Because a lot of the kids nowadays that have laptops, they don't use those skills. And I think they're so important for all children to learn how to use a computer mouse. So I work weekly. We do a lot of activities, videos, show them how to use the keys of the keyboard, demonstrate for them how to do a left click. I even put a sticker on the left side of the mouse so they could, every time they come, they know where is the left click. So as they learn that, then I could move them on to the next step, which is typing, because they need to learn how to type to use any program. So that's what I do for my K-2.
So out of curiosity, can your kindergarten students log in?
At the moment, they're not ready yet. My first grade is logging in. So my second step now this quarter, because I only get them 2 quarters a year. So this is my second quarter. I'm just getting ready to have them log into the computer. At the moment, what I have first grade do is log into the computer and get that computer ready for my kindergarten. Then now that my first grade is already typing.com and using all those tools, now I feel that I'm ready to move my kindergarten students because they have to learn their ABCs first. They have to learn the keyboard keys, the special keys. And that's what I spend my full first quarter on, practicing, identifying. We do worksheets to label the computer parts and the keyboard. So now I feel that they're going to be ready. Again, hopefully by first grade, they'll be ready the first week of school.
So by the end of kindergarten, the first week of school for first grade, they're going to be able to go, for example, my last name, Thomas M.I., and they would be able to put in their student ID number, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at Springfield Public School.
Exactly, because they already use that for iReady and other tools in the district. So the great thing about Springfield is that all teachers use the same login for different things, and not only the computer teacher does this. So when everybody's consistent with the same practice in the classroom, it makes it easier because I only see them for 2 weeks, every 2 weeks for 1 quarter. So everybody's doing the same thing. They get more chances to learn it.
That's awesome. I mean, I wish you had more time with them, but it's great that they're able to progress like they are. Are there things that you've learned about this year that you haven't put into practice, but you're looking forward to trying out maybe next year or at the end of the year?
I think I am not a programmer. I'm an instructional technology specialist teacher. And I always love, now that there's so much into programming and coding, I want to pursue more training for me. I'm probably going to sign up for online classes to do more coding for kids because I love that area. I find that I love it as well and that I like teaching about it because I love to see the kids going, wow. And, I have them whenever I have them, I want to keep them involved and interested in my lessons, and I think it's a great skill to have nowadays.
So more coding.
Yes.
All right. So I know that we are early into the day, and it does start to get a little crazy. If you had some advice that you would give to a brand new teacher, since you've been teaching for a while and with a lot of varied experience, what advice would that be?
My advice to new teachers is to always get to know your students, understand that they come from many different backgrounds. They don't have the same learning experiences that you did. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that we're trying to do lessons that are going to help our students move forward and learn. And even though that you might feel that a student is not able to learn a particular thing, mm-hmm. don't give up on that student, because you'll be surprised what you could do to change a student's life. Always come to work, do your best, and never give up on a student. Never get depressed, because that could happen in the beginning mm-hmm. when the kids are not responding to your lessons. Always try to give them a lot of love and patience, and keep trying new things, and never give up. If something doesn't work the first lesson, then try it another way until that student actually makes that progress and it's able to move ahead in whatever you're trying to accomplish in your classroom.
Awesome. That was great advice for any new teacher into the district. Thank you for your time. I know that we just got back from a fun snow day where we all had the day off, so I imagine it's going to be a little hectic, at least at the start of the day. So yes. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome.
I did, being able to be in her lab and seeing the things that she's doing with her students and the way that their schedule works and the things that she's able to do with kindergarten through second grade students and the 3 through 5, and the whole focus on coding is fantastic. And even before you can get to the coding, you have to learn how to type. And so by working with those younger students, she's helping prepare them for their future, because as you and I both know, typing is very much a thing that you need to learn how to do so that you can be effective on not only just doing everyday tasks on the computer, but also when it comes time for those tests, which we are having the infrastructure trials of right now, and we're preparing students for them. So as we wrap up this week, I just want to remind you that wherever you listen to us, please give us a review. We would love to hear from you. You can always message us through Yammer or DLA support at springfieldpublicschools.com. We are very interested in hearing your feedback. If you know of someone who would be a great interviewee, please email me and we'll be able to connect with them, and we'll be able to share all the great things that they are doing in the classroom. Thanks for listening this past week. I am Mike Thomas, Bearded Tech Ed Guy, and this is the SPS Digital Learning Hour.